All right, so one thing you need to do, because this is all going to move as one unit, it didn't automatically ungroup it. It's also, when you click on it and right click on it, it doesn't give you the option to ungroup it. So what you're going to want to do is release the compound path. So let's go ahead and do that. And what that does is it makes all of these elements individual, independent of themselves. So I know that I want to keep this. While I have it right here, I'm gonna color it in white, because when you do that, and I'll show you with another piece too, now I can grab this piece anywhere that it's filled in. If I try to grab this wheel well in here, nothing's going to happen. It's going to draw just a rectangle, and I can group things together again. So click on the edge. I know that I want that wheel well to be gray. I will cut it out in sparkles. And that's a piece I'm going to keep. I'm keeping the white piece. Let me go ahead and fill this. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place right now. Go ahead and fill this in with black, because that is my base layer. So that's gonna stay black through the entire process. Now I can see for sure what pieces that I want to. Now you're gonna have to be careful and make sure that you click just on the lines. So I'm gonna delete that. Come on, line. I'm gonna delete that as well. I'm also going to not do that. I'm gonna click on the door. Seriously, filling all of these elements in independently is just, it changes your life, because now you can grab it anywhere. And put it back where it was, and grab this little guy here. I'm gonna delete that guy. All right, and then I'm going to, so we're trying to use a little keypad. It's not always easy to do. Okay, one way to avoid this, you could just move the whole black thing out of the way. And now it's a lot easier to click. All right, so don't mind the mess. Try to focus on what I'm doing, because it's not necessarily going to be the most smooth thing. So I'm going to take this little guy that was kind of the hubcap, and I think I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. And without seeing, it's going to be hard to tell. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the difference. Move this back down here. Actually, I need to fill this in with gray first, because that was my first goal, was to fill that in. A couple things you can do to align this. You can click on both of them, go up to your align tool, and you can do align center. Now you know for sure that they are aligned together. I'm going to go ahead and group these two together. And I'm probably throwing in a couple of extra steps here that don't need to be thrown in there. I'm going to move this back down here about where it needs to be. Looks pretty centered to me. Now, if you were to do this as is, I'm going to go ahead and put the camper down here too, the camper body. I'm going to also fill it in with purple, because I'm going to show you guys a couple different things that I have learned along the way, and I see that it is not center. I'll change that here in a second. So let's move that over a tad. All right, so with the wheel well here, obviously you can see that there's going to be a cut line here. You don't want that cut line to be there. So once you get your wheel the way that you want it to look, I don't know, everybody wants different kinds of wheels. Somebody might want a super thin tire showing, somebody might want the really thick tire showing. It is 100% personal preference. I ungrouped it, but I didn't unclick it. So you can manipulate this any way that you want to. One trick is, if you want it to stay the same aspect, grab the corners. And that way you're for sure going to keep it circular, in a circular state. So why don't we go ahead and just kind of play around with it like this. My original had a thick wheel. I liked it that way. We'll try a thin wheel, go for a different look. I do want to make sure that I have these overlapping. This one is going behind that one. I'm going to bring it to the front so that you can see the red line to know for sure that it is overlapped. Once you get it where exactly you want it to be, I want you to click on both of them. You're going to go up to modify and you're going to weld them together. I'm going to show you one more time what the difference is before I weld it. Because if you leave it like this, yes, it's grouped together. No, it's not grouped together anymore. Okay, we're going to group it together. We're going to leave it like that. If you were to cut it right this moment, when you go to cut, you are going to have two different pieces. That is absolutely not what you want. You want it to be all one piece because it's all one color. So we're going to go over to the modify window and we are going to, as that's selected, we're going to hit weld. And now we're going to go over to the cut window and you're going to see what a difference that made. If any of you have welded your text together before, you know that it just gets rid of the fact that they are independent letters. Sorry, we're shaking a little bit. And now you can manipulate this any way you want. You can move it, but it's not going to be scaled to your camper anymore. So you definitely want to make sure that you have your element in place, and you want it to have it looking the way that you want it to look as the final product. So we're just going to leave it at that for right now. I think the next thing we're going to work on is, let's go ahead and go to the door. None of these elements are grouped together. I'm going to leave them that way for right now. I'm just going to leave them independent because the next couple items, and I can show you the different, I'll show you the difference that it makes too of having them grouped and versus ungrouped. So I'm going to go up here to the rectangle. I'm going to draw my window. And I'm going to leave it like that. Go back to my select tool. I'm going to grab it instead of the door. I'm actually going to color it like an orange color right now, and this will make sense in a minute. I'm going to grab the orange, and what I want to do, if you look up here at this one, there's black underneath. The black is actually the base layer. It is not another layer. I didn't do a base of black, white, black, silver. We're going to subtract the image so that I'm not cutting a million different pieces of vinyl, but it looks like I cut a million different pieces of vinyl. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to take that rectangle that I drew. I'm going to come up to the offset button, offset screen. I'm going to give it an internal offset. I want to make sure that it's a corner so that it's not rounded, while the external rectangle is square or rectangular or 90-degree angles, or however you want to think about it. 0.039, that's a fine distance for me. I'm going to hit apply. Now I'm going to make sure that I'm grabbing the right one. I'm going to grab the internal rectangle. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to fill it with the gray. I think it was that gray that I used. Now, this is the rectangle that is staying. We need to get rid of this orange rectangle. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the white door, we're going to grab the orange rectangle, we're going to come up to modify, and we're going to hit subtract. That didn't just subtract it from the outside of this, it subtracted the entire thing. So when you go to put your white vinyl through, because I cut it by color, and I'll show you that too here when we're done, this is going to cut just the white. It's going to give you this black space that your black is going to be completely solid. And then you're going to layer these on top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and put that little gray rectangle back where I need it to be. Now let's go ahead and work on the window, and I'll show you what a little bit of, sorry, I'm getting click happy over here. What a difference grouping is going to make for you. Oops. Let me fill this in. We'll fill it in with orange again. And this is probably not even where it needs to be, but it doesn't matter. You're going to create your own design, and you are going to make the window circular. You can make it a heart shape. You can make it a rounded rectangle. You can make it an oval. You're going to be able to put curtains inside. You can give it crosses. You can do absolutely whatever you want. Once you know these methods, I hope that your eyes are going to be opened up to some new techniques and that you can take this and go wherever you want to go with it. I'm going to go ahead and color this in. We're going to do orange again, just like that. Go back to my internal offset. Same thing, I'm going to leave it the same. I like symmetry. The other thing that I could have done is I could have taken this and drawn the triangle or rectangle, good grief, rectangle around it. I could have done the same and offset, but I'm choosing not to do that. I'm going to leave it as is. So we're going to do that again. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill this in again with that silver color. Now, say this is driving you crazy. Every time you try to click on a line somewhere, it moves on you. And during your haste, you decide, you know what, I'm going to group those together because I'm really, really tired of them moving around. Okay, go ahead and group them together, and this next example is going to show you why it's helpful to not have them grouped together. So same thing as the door, same concept. I'm going to click on the body of that. I'm going to click on the orange. But now when I go over here to hit subtract, it's going to subtract through both layers. So now if I ungrouped this, it would cut through, it's going to cut through both layers. We don't want that to happen unless that is the look that you are going for. I'm just going to go back and hit undo on all of this because that's easier for me than to recreate everything that I just did. So again, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to ungroup everything. You can see I've got two rectangles there now showing me that it is ungrouped. So now when I grab this top layer, the purple layer, and I grab the orange layer and I hit subtract, that's only subtracting from the purple layer. And this black layer is still solid. There are no cuts in the black layer. I do not want cuts in the black layer. So that is what I do. I'm going to pause just for a second here. I'm going to go take a bathroom break and stretch a second and regroup my thoughts, and I will be right back.